Hey everybody, Professor D'Souza here with a quick message about our accounting formula, accounts, and what we're going to be doing going into Chapter 1 this week. And I wanted to give you this heads up, particularly as it relates to Chapter 1 homework, because this is going to be helpful for the homework. So we went over this last week, assets equals liabilities plus owner's equity, we learned that it's a formula that balances. What we're going to be getting into in more detail this week and a little bit into next week is the idea of these accounts being part of the accounting formula, okay? So every company has what's called a chart of accounts, okay? A chart of accounts is a listing of assets, liabilities, and owner's equity. Now, each of these accounts is specific to the company, but many companies share the same accounts. For instance, every company would have a cash account. A lot of companies would have equipment and supplies and that kind of thing. We need accounts to track our money. Okay, that's kind of the most basic way to think about this. What is going to be part of your job in Chapter 1 and including going into Chapter 2 and Chapter 3 and Chapter 4, so these first 4 chapters of this course, is going to be learning to memorize these account names. Memorizing that, for instance, we have cash, we have something called accounts receivable, we have equipment and supplies, and that these are asset accounts. They roll up into the asset piece of our accounting formula. We're also going to be learning about liabilities. These are some sample liabilities up here. Most companies have accounts payable, many have notes payable, many companies have salaries, sometimes called wages payable. And then every company is going to have the 4 basic owner's equity accounts: capital and drawings, and then revenue and expense. Now, owner's equity gets a little bit more nuanced than assets and liabilities because we have these 4 account types: capital, drawings, revenue, and expense. So owner's equity, I'll just make a quick point on this. We are going to be creating an income statement in this chapter. Okay, that's homework problem number 2. Homework problem number 1. And the income statement is going to be narrowing on this information here. Okay, our income and expense. Now, the reason why I highlight this is that when we create an income statement, we are presenting financial data to the world. And the income statement is meant to present this piece of our company, okay, the revenue and expense. Some of you you volunteered the fact that you already knew about revenue and expense and the concept of income, net income. Revenue minus expense is net income. Okay, so I'll have a separate video that goes into the homework problem dealing with the income statement, but I did want to mention that the income statement is going to be this piece specifically. Well, we're also going to be looking at the concept of a balance sheet. Now, the balance sheet is this entire equation for the company put into a report form, okay? So the balance sheet is going to look at the full assets, liabilities, and owner's equity. And similar to the income statement, we're going to have a nice layout, and it's a predefined layout, okay? One of the things with accounting that we're going to learn is that there are lots of rules, okay? We looked at the concept of GAAP, generally accepted accounting principles. And the balance sheet and the income statement and the way that it's formed and the way that it's laid out is part of the rules, okay? We're also going to look at something called the statement of owner's equity. That's going to be looking mostly at this piece here. Okay, statement of owner's equity is right there. It's looking at the beginning balance of capital and then the ending balance of capital for the owner of the company. And then looking at some of the detail in the middle. So what happened during the year that changed the capital balance for the owner? Finally, we're going to be looking at something called the statement of cash flows, which is a very detailed look into how our cash changed over the period of time, okay, over the year or over the month. And we're going to see that their cash can be used in different ways. And again, the rules tell us to bucket cash in 3 distinct buckets on the statement of cash flow. So that's going to be part of what we look at there. So we have these 4 basic income financial statements. And what we do is we create them all as part of our accounting job, okay? So this is part of what you're learning, is that every company must put together these 4 basic financial statements. In Chapter 1, we start to look at this in more detail. So you're asked to put together, problem number 1 in the homework asks you to put together an income statement, okay? You're also going to be asked to put together the balance sheet and the statement of owner's equity and a statement of cash flows. We'll look at that as the course goes on. We're also going to be asked to interpret business facts, okay? So for instance, company ABC, okay, and we'll be given sample companies. We can use Cookies Creation, by the way, as a good kind of stand-in example. But company ABC purchases equipment for cash or purchases supplies on account. We're given these business facts, and what we're going to be looking to do is put those business facts into an accounting context. We're going to be using this paradigm throughout chapter 1 and into chapter 2. It gets more complicated as the chapters go on because what we're doing is we're creating a layered system of logic. Okay, that's what we're learning. Accounting is a very integrated system of logical rules around how to account for our money for our company. More to come, but this is a quick intro to assets, liabilities, and equity, and going beyond what we did last week, which was kind of just a very basic formulaic sort of understanding up here. Now we're starting to dig a little bit deeper. Okay? If you haven't yet, please take a look at the homework. If you can, take a look at it. Take a look at the homework in advance of tomorrow's, meaning Wednesday's class. Okay? Thank you.